New York City is widely recognized for its vibrant Times Square, majestic skyscraper, and Broadway theatrical productions. However, New York, like many large cities, has a colorful past, and some of its buildings have witnessed such sad incidents that their horrible histories have made them more famous than their beautiful architecture. It's not uncommon for paranormal enthusiasts and ghost hunters to visit these spooky sites in an effort to conduct additional research. It seems that there may be more to the nickname, the city that never sleeps, given to New York. So, in this video, we will see the backstories of 10 most haunted buildings in New York City. Number 10. The Dakota. Some of the most sought-after real estate in Manhattan can be found in the Dakota, which is situated at 72nd Street and Central Park West. 2 years before the building was finished, in the 1880s, its owner, Edward Clark, the inventor of the Singer sewing machine company, passed away at the age of 70. The Dakota, which has a haunting past in addition to its Gothic design, is renowned for its view of Central Park. The exterior was used for scenes in Roman Polanski's 1968 film Rosemary's Baby, as horror fans will notice. When renovations were being done in the 1960s, workers reported seeing the ghost of a blonde girl in the hallways. Sadly, Mark David Chapman shot and killed Beatles vocalist John Lennon outside the Dakota on December 8, 1980. His wife, who resides there to this day, says that one night she had a visit from her late husband's ghost, comforted her by telling her not to fear. "I'm still here with you." Lennon also told his wife, just before he passed away, that he had seen a crying lady ghost prowling the hallways at night. Number 9. The House of Death. Author Mark Twain lived at 14 West 10th Street in Greenwich Village from 1900 to 1901. It is thought that his ghost is one of the 22 ghosts that haunt the building, all of whom either died or lived. A man with white hair, wild-like, who was sitting in a chair and staring out the window was seen by a former resident. When she questioned him why he was there, he said, "My name is Clemens and I got problems here, I gotta settle." Additionally, Jan Bryant Bartell, an actress, reported feeling uneasy and seeing visuals at 16 West, which is located next door, in addition to hearing noises. After that, she relocated to 14 West, but the feelings persisted, leading her to conclude that it was Mark Twain's ghost. Joel Steinberg, a rich lawyer, killed his adopted daughter at number 14 by beating her severely in 1987. Those who are aware of the building's spooky past have subsequently called it the House of Death. Number 8. The Campbell Apartment. The former office of banker John W. Campbell is now a cocktail bar at Grand Central Terminal known as the Campbell Apartment. It was converted into a minor jail after his death in 1957 before it was sold once more. Following renovation, the building's historic architecture has been infused with modern design features, providing a comfortable spot to unwind with a drink near the bustling main station. But the place's history of paranormal activity also draws a lot of ghost seekers. In 2010, owner Mark Grossick said, "Over the last several years, employees have had instances where they felt someone pushing them from behind when they were walking across the floor, and there was no one there. They felt gusts of cold air coming from out of nowhere. My staff has even reported seeing apparitions of an old, fashionably dressed couple sitting and having a cocktail on the balcony when the place was completely closed." He added that the ghostly goings-on are so frequent that many of his staff members refuse to be in the place on their own. Number 7. Conference House. In 1966, Staten Island's Conference House was designated as a National Historic Landmark. This location hosted an unsuccessful meeting between Benjamin Franklin, Edward Rutledge, John Adams, and Lord William Howe on September 11, 1776, to discuss a peace pact during the Revolutionary War. The site was purchased by English Royal Navy Commander Christopher Billop in 1676, and he constructed the Bentley Manor, now known as the Conference House. Billop is thought to have stabbed the manor's maid to death on the stairwell or tossing her body down. He did it because he had seen her signaling the enemy, and it's said that her ghost still haunts the building. Another ghost that resides here is the spirit of Billop's fiancée, who died of a broken heart when he abandoned her. and her cries can still be heard. Additionally, the structure is situated on Burial Ridge, the greatest Lenape burial ground in New York City, which would account for many of the area's haunting. Number 6. The Lefferts Laidlaw House. In December 1878, then-owner Edward F. Smith heard knocking at his door and loud rattling of his windows, which continued through the night until he eventually called the police. As the police surrounded the building outside, a brick was thrown through the dining room window, despite numerous police officers being at the property. After a search of the surrounding grounds, nobody else was to be found. The thought of hearing knocking on your door in the middle of the night, only to answer and find nobody is there, frightens you. Then the Lefferts Laidlaw House at 136 Clinton Avenue, near the Brooklyn Navy Yard, is one residence to avoid. Numerous psychics have attempted to figure out the identity of the malevolent ghost that haunts this location, conducting semi-seances on the pavement outside the house, but nothing has come to light. The temple-fronted Greek Revival-style palace, which was last listed for $4.5 million in 2016, was constructed around 1840. It has 6 bedrooms. Number 5. 85 West 3rd Street. Edgar Allan Poe is primarily recognized for his scary Gothic tales, such as The Fall of the House of Usher, The Telltale Heart, and The Black Cat. But while he was residing at 85 West 3rd Street, he may have drawn inspiration for The Raven, one of his most well-known pieces. A recent resident claims that he hasn't moved on from his 1844 to 1845 residence, which coincided with the publication of the narrative poem. Although New York University dismantled the structure and rebuilt it as Furman Hall, certain original characteristics, like the front facing the front street and the old railing, still stand. Residents of the hall, who are students, claim of seeing an enigmatic figure that resembles the late Poe and hovers close to the banister. Poe passed away mysteriously in 1849 at the age of 40. There has been a great deal of conjecture over the reason of his death since he was discovered behaving delirious in Baltimore, Maryland. Possible explanations include alcohol poisoning, suicide, cholera, and even murder. Number 4. 84 West 3rd Street. There's a house with a terrible past across the street from Edgar Allan Poe's old home. Originally constructed in 1906, the former Fire Patrol Station is located at 84 West 3rd Street. Sadly, in 1930, a firefighter discovered that his wife was having an affair and killed himself inside the building. His grieved spirit is thought to haunt the structure, and earlier firefighters have reported hearing odd noises and seeing the ghost hovering in midair, almost as if it were hanging from the rafters. Since then, the station has been converted into a private home. This is undoubtedly a haunted street because Hangman's Elm, a massive tree in Washington Square Park where public executions were sometimes conducted, is only a short stroll down the street. The last recorded hanging in the area occurred in 1820, when Rose Butler, a slave, was put to death for setting her master's house on fire. Number 3. The Manhattan Well Murder. An iconic murder took place in the Soho basement, the former Manhattan Bistro. A young woman named Gulielma Elmore Sands was scheduled to meet her lover Levi Weeks one night in late December 1799 because they intended to elope. That would be the final time anyone would see her living. 11 days later, her body was discovered in the basement's well. She appeared to have been strangled, based on the bruises on her neck. Weeks was detained and put on trial in the case that came to be known as the Manhattan Well Murder. But with the help of an excellent defense team, he was quickly found not guilty. Since then, a lot of ghost hunters and enthusiasts for macabre history have visited the well where the young woman's body was discovered. The Manhattan Bistro's owner, Maria de Grossa, previously observed, "People are constantly asking to come down here to see the well." Following the bistro's closure, the clothes store moved into the basement. Number 2. 12 Gay Street. 12 Gay Street is a 3-story brick townhouse in the West Village that was originally constructed in 1827. From the outside, there doesn't seem to be anything odd about this building. But a restless spirit that won't go away at night is rumored to haunt the location. Having spent over 20 years living on the same street, the neighbor said, I wouldn't go in there right now. It's legendary that ghosts live there. That place would be like moving into The Shining. In addition to hearing footsteps on the stairs at night and seeing a man in a top hat appear at doorways, many who have entered the house reported feeling as though they were not alone. In addition, there have been many reports of ghostly activity in the basement, which a previous owner used as a puppet theater. When the home was listed for sale in 2009, the asking price of $4.2 million included a promise that the future owners would have their own personal Stephen King experience. Number 1. 57 West 57th Street. There have been several reports of haunted residences, but the haunted penthouse at 57 West 57th Street gives guests chills. A local legend suggested that occupants of the penthouse would eventually become insane and would even resort to homicide. Before her French lover Charles Brazel killed him, Edna Crawford Champion was the inventor's wife. She purchased the penthouse as a haven for her and her partner after lying to the authorities and making them think that he had had a heart attack. After Charles turned on Edna one night and killed her with a phone, her bodyguards killed him by throwing him out of a window. After a while, the apartment was purchased by Carlton Alsops, who was so distressed by the sounds of high heels tapping on the floor that his marriage finally collapsed. Alsops abandoned the flat entirely and ended up in a psychiatric institution. The occupants of the flat now probably know of the penthouse's history, either by hearing about it firsthand or from warnings. And that's a wrap on the 10 most haunted buildings in New York City. But be warned, the ghosts of Gotham don't just reside within these walls. They're always lurking, waiting to be uncovered. Thanks for exploring the darker side of New York City with me. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content that's just as fascinating, whether it's eerie, enlightening, or just plain entertaining. See you in the next video.